presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are NC.
The Royals came home in search of success at the K. Last night, pitching made sure it was one down. Now Hochevar to go today, as the Royal Arms try to keep the struggling offense swinging and missing. Luke used the force. It's a beautiful afternoon in Kansas City for Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Oakland Athletics and the Kansas City Royals. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Fiziak. This is Rex Hudler. The Royals won Game 1 last night 2-0 as their starting pitcher, Felipe Paulino, was incredibly aggressive with his pitches. Do you expect to see the same with our Kia Report pitcher, Luke Hochevar?
Absolutely, Fizz. If you ask Luke Hochevar or any starting pitcher, they'll tell you strike one is their best pitch. Got to work ahead, especially against a struggling offense. Breaking stuff for quality strikes, not out over the middle, because they will hit it even though they're struggling. Today's the day, to get his first win at the K and also to beat the A's for the first time in his career. Go ahead, Luke, and see what you can do.
The A's have lost 9 straight. The Royals have won 5 of their last 6. It's Kansas City against Oakland coming your way next. The Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. And by your Kansas City Chevy dealers, the official vehicle of the Kansas City Royals. When we come back, Joel Goldberg will talk Alex Gordon.
double last night, and they doubled last night and also had a big walk in the first inning, which led to the first run of the game. Ned Yost said over and over again that he would love to get a set lineup, but looking for consistency. Now maybe he's finding that with Alex Gordon at the top of the lineup. 7 different leadoff men so far this year, but as of late, it has been Gordon. This will be his 6th straight game, batting number 1, and during that stretch, I think he's looking pretty good. 350 batting average, 435 on base. 500 slugging percentage. Alex saying he's comfortable and feels like he maybe just is a table setter, and the Royals happy with him up there. Luke Hochevar throws the first pitch next. I'm Joel Goldberg. Enjoy the game.
By Time Warner Cable, the official TV, internet, and home phone provider of the Kansas City Royals. Oakland comes in going through desperate times, losing 9 in a row and being shut out in their last 2 games. It goes back farther. This lineup batting 181 their last 18 games. Weeks is the only guy on a hot streak. He has hit in 8 straight games. Then Cowgill will take over in right field. Reddick is the DH. Cespedes the left fielder. And then you've got Kaihui and you've got Inge, Crisp, Suzuki, Pennington. All have been in a major drought. On the hill, the tall right-hander from Fowler, Colorado, Luke Hochevar.
Okay, you can see Hoch right there. If he can just, get through 6 innings today and hand that off to the bullpen, that would be outstanding. Now, he's got really good stuff. When he commands the inside part of the plate, both righties and lefties, back him off a little bit, stay out of the middle, he's good. He'll cut it, slide it, change it, and he'll curve it. He's got all kinds of pitches, but strike one's his big key. He's got to be able to get ahead.
His record is 3-5, a rather high ERA at 6.19 in 10 starts, but pitching better of late. And here is the pitch to Jemile Weeks. It is a strike, and the count moves to 1 ball and 1 strike. The Royals open today with a record of 22-28, 7 games back of the Chicago White Sox in the American League Central. White Sox have been on fire, and there's a drive to right center field, and Francoeur will not get there, and Weeks will have at least 2. It will be a triple for Jemile Weeks, so his hit streak now goes to 9 straight games. How about our Ford around the horn defense?
Okay, now that ball had a lot of loft into it, and they were playing a little bit shallow, but it's up to these guys to flag these balls down. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's tough during the daytime here for sure. With a slight breeze blowing, but that high sky and that sun could be a problem for some of the outfielders.
And that ball was being pushed away from Jeff Francoeur. The wind is from the southeast, about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Weeks with tremendous speed. He's at third base, and the batter is Colin Cowgill.
Well, that's a huge start right there. Just that triple with nobody out. They got a chance to get on the board first. The way they have not been scoring runs, just averaging 3.2 runs per game, 208 average overall. This is a good opportunity for Oakland.
And this young man, Colin Cowgill, they like his future. If you go back over the last month, he has not been swinging the bat well, but recently in the last 4, 8 hits in his last 14 at bats to raise his average to 245. Still looking for his first home run of the year.
Oh, right here, anywhere he hits it besides Moose at third base, he's got a chance to get his team the lead.
The 0-2 is swung on and chopped towards short. They will let the run score. Escobar throws out Cowgill, who gets the job done on a ground out. So 1-0 Oakland.
Hey, that's all you got to do. Shorten up your swing, try to make some contact. And that's what he did. That's what Chili Davis is going to make him happy, their hitting coach. Situational hitting. Shorten your swings. Try to get some guys get them on and get them over, get them in.
The time and temperature is brought to you by the parking spot. 76 degrees at the start of this game, and we threw the first pitch at 110. Here is Josh Reddick. He has been their power surge in this lineup. 14 home runs this year.
So he's getting a half a day off being the DH.
Josh Hamilton of the Texas Rangers with 21 leads the American League, and then you've got Granderson, Encarnacion, and Dunn with 17. Jones of Baltimore with 16, and then Josh Reddick of Oakland. 1-1 didn't mean to do it, tried to check his swing, but fouled it off, and the count moves to 1-2. Royals won last night 2-0. Paulino in the pen allowed just 3 hits and no runs.
Oh, he was really good, and I liked his awareness around the bases. That helped him big time. And I talked to Paulino today about that play at third base when Weeks tried to steal third on him before he even threw the pitch, and he said he heard Moose. He stepped off and threw a dart, and he threw it to Moose while he was on the run. And that was a big play for him. And he said he was a little surprised that they did it, but mound presence, control of your emotions out there, having an awareness is very important, and Paulino didn't panic.
Moustakas in this at bat is the only defender on the left side of the infield. They are playing that shift dramatically with Josh Reddick, and after getting ahead 0-2, Luke Hochaver has missed. And now they count as full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. He wants to be aggressive. He will look to build upon Kansas City's 8-3 record in the middle games of series. Swing and a miss, and Hochaver gets the strikeout of Josh Reddick.
Hey, you know, he in that at bat, you know, Hochaver, there was nobody on. He didn't have to worry about making his pitch, but he effectively threw an off-speed pitch there in a hitter's count. That's going to be good for him. But when you're facing a team that doesn't have a strong offense with nobody on base, you don't want any free passes for sure. You need to go right after these guys and just trust your stuff. Stay down in the strike zone like he's doing.
Now Yoenis Cespedes is the batter. Cespedes went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. And it almost seemed like, Rex, he was over swinging in every single at bat last night since coming off the DL.
Yeah, he's young and he's missed some time. First time ever on the DL. So when he comes back, he wants to make a big impression. So why not swing harder? That fell right into Broxton's lap last night and he overpowered him. But he's a young guy, but nice tools.
And it was really interesting watching Broxton work him. He started low in the strike zone, and every single pitch he raised the eye level, and Cespedes went after some pitches that were 97 above the belt and finished them off with 99 fastball. Cespedes was on the disabled list for a while because of a strained muscle in his left hand. Escobar. Oakland scores 1 run in the first inning on 1 hit, a triple by Weeks and ground out by Cowgill. Kauffman Stadium. The Athletics have taken the early 1-0 lead. Let's check out the Kansas City lineup. Alex Gordon will make his 6th straight start in the lead spot. Bencourt coming off the DL. He had a big hit in the first inning yesterday. Then Butler, Moustakas, Francoeur, Hosmer, Escobar, Dyson, and Quintero. On the hill, another Colorado guy. A couple of Colorado guys battling. Brandon McCarthy, who was raised in Colorado, went to Cheyenne Mountain High School.
Okay, now don't leave the runners on like they have in the past. Get the big hit off of him, and they've been hitting over 300 in their last week or so when they've been winning games, getting big hits. Okay, the ERA on the road, not so good, but can the Butler do it again? Billy, he's 2 for 6 with a homer. Okay, McCarthy, he's got a cutter, a hard cutter. He'll throw some fastballs that sink, and he's got a big curveball that's his out pitch. A few changeups he'll throw, but he's got a lot more movement. He used to be predominantly a fly ball pitcher because he threw right over the top. But now he's dropped his arm angle a little bit to the side, and he's getting more movement, and he's getting more ground ball outs.
He was just reinstated from the disabled list today, was placed in the 15-day DL May 20th, retroactive to May 18th because of a right shoulder problem. And Gordon breaks his bat on that swing and will need a new piece of lumber. But a strained right shoulder, and remember this is the 7th time that Brandon McCarthy has been on the disabled list, and most of the time it is because of that right shoulder problem.
It's because he threw straight over the top. When you come over the top like that, ball stays straighter and it's more of a stress on your shoulder. So he's learned that dropping down his arm angle a little bit, he's going to take less off the stress on his shoulder, and he's going to get more movement on his ball. So he's learning as he's evolving. And those too many trips to the DL, you know, that'll cut your career off.
Gordon swings and sends a single up the middle. So just like yesterday, he reaches in his initial at bat. He walked yesterday, and then Betancourt split the gap in right center field, giving Kansas City a 1-0 lead.
I like the adjustments he's making. Okay, on our super slow-mo today, which you see it much better, is that he's shortening up his swing. Okay, that's a 2-strike approach there. Look at that. Kept both hands on the bat through the swing. I like that too. But see another look here. That's an easy short swing. Didn't try to do too much or uppercut. That's an adjustment that's going to help him, especially in that leadoff role, getting on base.
He hit .303 last year with 23 home runs, mainly performing in that lead role. And here's Betancourt, came off the disabled list yesterday after missing 26 games with a high right ankle sprain.
Uni's good in the second spot for now because he's an action type hitter. He's aggressive. He swings the bat. He's not up there to be patient to take for Gordon to steal. Gordon's not going to go out and just steal a base every time he's out there. Situational steals is in his packet, but Betancourt likes to swing.
And he swings perfectly, dropping a base hit to right field. Cowgill has a fine arm, and you can see how accurate it was. So the Royals will have runners on first and second with nobody out to start this game.
Okay, Oakland A's on defense, sponsored by Ford. You see Coco Crisp in center. Now, Cespedes, when the season started, the left fielder, he was the center fielder, but they've moved him to left field now because of his strong throwing arm, and it gives him a chance to throw out more runners in left field than center field. Hard to throw guys out from center field, but that's why Cespedes is playing in left field.
2 on, nobody out. Bottom 1, Billy Butler.
Same approach he's going to have as last night. Stay inside the ball, drive it to the right side.
He is 6th in the American League in RBIs with 35. Josh Hamilton, the leader with Texas, who has 57 already in the first 2 months of the season.
Coco Crisp in center field is playing him to the right side of second base. He's playing into the off field. That's exactly where Billy's aiming.
Fouled back now. Butler down in the count, 0-2. The Royals have been improving with runners in scoring position, and here are your Toyota League leaders. The White Sox hitting .388 the last 10 games, but Kansas City is second best in the AL at .305, and they have a guy in scoring position right now with good speed in Alex Gordon. Good RBI guy at the plate, and McCarthy wants the strikeout. To third, they've got 2 possibly, and Weeks will get the double play. Moving to third is Alex Gordon.
That's why he wanted that approach, to try to stay inside the ball to shoot it the other way, because when you try to pull a ball like that, you roll over it most of the time. Now, it's not easy to do. Billy Butler, he knows that's a hard little running, sinking fastball in his hands.
Gordon led the inning off with a base hit. Betancourt followed with a single. The 5-4-3 double play has the Royals having to do what they did in their last win at Cleveland. Get a hit with 2 outs that scores run. They scored 6 runs in a 6-3 victory over Cleveland in the final game of that series on Wednesday, and 5 of the 6 runs were scored with 2 out. Ned Yost likes the consistency in Kansas City's lineup of late. He really feels they've turned the corner offensively. Stockus now has a 2-0 count.
McCarthy's got that cutter in on lefties, sinkers away on lefties, and then his swing and miss pitch is his curve.
Now 3 balls and no strikes to Moustakas. So right-hander is on deck in Jeff Francoeur.
Yeah, I like Moose's approach. He's got a soft front step. And the fact that he walked twice last night, he's seeing pitches more. He's more comfortable. He looks relaxed. He didn't offer it that pitch that was inside off the plate.
Strike makes it 3-1.
Moose, he loves it here. Crowd chants his name every time he comes up and makes a defensive play, and he's responded with a .313 average at home.
That is ball 4. Yeah, it was really a wonderful situation when Joel Goldberg was interviewing Moose on the postgame show. And as soon as Joel asked him the first question, the entire crowd of 30,000 just roared out, "Moose!" And he had a big grin on his face like, "I love you guys."
Another good AB. Now, he didn't exactly get the pitch he wanted, so he passed the baton off to Frenchie. Let Frenchie drive it in. So this is going to be good for Moose, that number 4 spot. The more selective he is, the more the word's going to get around the league that he's not going to chase off the plate. And that's good. You chase off the plate, you get yourself out.
Base hit left field. This will tie the game as Gordon checks in from third.
Okay, that's a clutch hit there with 2 outs. It's important that Frenchie, the number 5 hitter behind Moose, can supply a little bit of big hits with the runners on. 200 average with runners in scoring position is Frenchie, and that mark's going to start climbing up. He keeps finding holes like that. Now, left-handers are hitting .315 with 4 jacks off of McCarthy. He's been stingy to righties, just .219 with 1 homer, but the lefties have been getting him.
Why is that, Hud?
It's because his cutter inside's not always cutting in off the plate. It's cutting out over the plate, and they're barreling it up. And so right here, they're trying to stay away from Hosmer because he's still jumping. He's still overswinging a little bit. They're going to keep the ball away from him and hope that he tops him to the infield.
Pops this one up. Suzuki has a beat on it, makes the catch. Clutch base hit with 2 outs by Jeff Francoeur, though, and Kansas City ties this game with Oakland. are teaming up to help you stop smoking now. The State of Missouri Tobacco Quit Line. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler, Joe Goldberg with you at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. It is a 1-1 ball game as each team scored a run in their half of the first. Now to the second. Kahue will lead things off for the Oakland Athletics. He'll be followed by Brandon Inge and then Coco Crisp. 1-1 from Luke Hochaver.
Okay, Hochaver early in the season, he would challenge guys in the game early, and he would throw cookies down the middle, and they just kept hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. Now he's mixing in his secondary pitches early in counts.
In his last outing, Rex, he pitched against Baltimore, only lasted 4 2/3 innings, but Dave Island liked the way he was aggressive with his pitches. That ball is swung on and popped up on the infield. Looks like Hosmer will take care of it. 1 out. We are pleased to announce the third finalist in the Fan of the Game sweepstakes from Fiat of Olathe. Steve Neck of Overland Park, Kansas, was randomly drawn as one of the 6 finalists in a final drawing to win a Fiat 500 pop. For a chance to win, register at Fiat of Olathe, I-35 and 119th Street exit. And I understand they're going to be making those Fiat 500s into electric cars. Gentleman by the name of Bruce Falls is the top engineer in that. It's a great car. Here's the pop-up on the infield. Unieski Bentcourt will make the catch, and very quickly 2 outs to open the second inning.
Okay, now the high sky with the sun, it presents more of a problem for the center fielder onto the left side. Shortstop, third base, left fielder, they all have glasses on. Unieski and Frenchie on the right side don't wear glasses, and for them, they're not looking directly into the sun. It's always better to have glasses, so at least it cuts the glare down, and if you do miss a ball, you had your glasses on.
You have an excuse. You got backup. Here is Coco Crisp. He's been in a major slide, just 5 for his last 37, and that's since coming off the DL. If you were watching last night's game, we told you that Coco had a really bad inner ear infection, and so bad that they had to put him on the DL because he was dizzy in the outfield and really was struggling. 0-2 as Hochaver going right after him. Luke has a good combination of sinking fastball with a good breaking ball, but the pitch that he has gained the most confidence from last year to this is the changeup. The time went with the heater at 95. Wow, didn't miss by much. He didn't get the same movement on that pitch that we saw from Bartolo Colon, who was just outstanding with his sinking fastball in the later innings.
Well, every guy's different. They all have different pitches, although most guys' fastball, slider, change curve, it depends on their arm angle, their deception, how they take speeds off of pitches. They can invent as they go along and make adjustments per hitter.
Wow, that was a great pitch by Hochaver. Backed off all the way to 81 miles an hour and strikes out Coco Crisp. Next installment of T-Shirt Tuesday is on June 12th against the Milwaukee Brewers. The first 10,000 fans will receive a Homegrown Heroes themed T-shirt presented by Kia. Gates open at 5:30, so get here early. Go to Royals.com/T-Shirt Tuesday or call 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. Did a great giveaway today. You can see those KC hats. Those are vintage 1960 caps, and the first 20,000 fans receive those today, courtesy of Taco Bell. And that's anticipation of our All-Star game this July, because the Royals are commemorating the year the Athletics in Kansas City hosted the Midsummer Classic in 1960. Alcides Escobar will lead things off against Brandon McCarthy. Escobar 1 for 3 last night, and that's been much like the last month. He's hitting .333 the last month of the season to raise his average to .304, 10th best in the American League. '60 was also the year that Charlie O'Finley, Rex, the insurance and real estate mogul, bought the team. And man, did he change Old Municipal Stadium. They had a zoo behind the outfield wall. They had that giant electronic rabbit that brought the baseballs out to the umpires. Finley moved the fences out and then brought them back in because the pitchers and the batters wanted it a certain way. Escobar lines one to right field, and it stays up for Cowgill, out number 1.
All right, I talked about McCarthy and his arm angle, how he's altered it because of the injuries. Now, I'll show you a difference here. Okay, typically he was over the top. See, this is an arm angle here compared to this angle, and that was putting stress on his shoulder. So when he goes out there, he's going to get a little bit more movement down and in with the cutter.
When he came up, because of his size, I remember people compared him to Jack McDowell, and Jack came over the top and had that great split finger fastball.
6'7", 205, perfect body, tall. And why that's so perfect is because it's deceptive. You get arms and legs, and they start flying in that delivery, and it's harder for the batter to pick up the baseball.
McDowell had great success, of course, with the Chicago White Sox. He was an All-American at Stanford.
Dyson would like to get going.
He does here with a base hit. He heard your words as he was 4 for his last 30, then drops a single to left field.
Yeah, this is good. Hey, he just needs to keep that approach right there. That's a ball out over the middle he should have made contact with. Now, sometimes you don't have control of where it goes after you hit it, but when you're a leadoff guy with speed, go ahead and slap it on base. Now, we see the arms and legs. Okay, he has a traditional windup where he comes all the way over his shoulders, over his head, and then he comes back down. His arm's going to flare out there. His leg's going to come at you, and then, boom, here comes the ball. Okay, with that pitch there, you can see that was just a little bit of a cutter. See how he let it go, and it's cutting in, but didn't quite cut in enough. And
they expect Dyson to go. He is tied with Escobar for most steals in the team with 8.
You mentioned the high batting average that lefties have against McCarthy at .315, and that was it right there. The cutter stayed out over the plate, and it was hit instead of burying it in on our hands.
Dyson does not go, and the pitch is fouled back. Now it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Bob Melvin pitched out on the very first pitch. It tells you with a good command guy like McCarthy, he might on 1-1. Dyson looked like he wanted to go.
And you know, so Quintero, he knows what to do. He tried to shoot that ball over there somewhere, and that was his first swing to try to get Dyson to third base. Cal Gill in center field, or in right field, he's a little bit shallow, knowing that Quintero, most of his doubles this year have all gone to left center field, and so not many to the right field. So he's playing in a little bit to try to throw out Dyson on a single if he can hit the hole.
Dyson goes. The pitch is fouled. Well, he went, and I thought he had a pretty good jump, and then about 4 steps in, he put the brakes on, and Quintero now behind the count, 1-2.
Slipped. back foot just kind of gave out on him a little, and he stopped. Might try a different toe hold. Maybe get less of the lead, or maybe a half a step more to get out of that spot.
Could be 2. It is. And that will end the inning for Kansas City. We are tied at 1 with McCarthy and Hochevar. Luke Hochevar with 2 strikeouts in this game.
Okay, you see that on that angle there, you could see that little spike curve that he's throwing. He's got his index finger up on the ball, helps him get a little more torque on it down as it leaves his hand.
He is looking for his first win against the Oakland Athletics in his career. 0-6 with a 6.39 ERA in 7 starts. His first 3 at the Coliseum were miserable, in which he allowed 20 earned runs in only 12 innings. Pitched much better in his last 3.
It's because he's staying out of the middle. That's where big league hitters live. Even if you're a struggling offense like Oakland, these guys are all major league players. They'll hit balls that are right there. But he's got good enough stuff where he can stay on the corners, mix in his secondary pitches like he's doing, and he's been pitching better lately. He's been pitching, not throwing. And he sees that, man, he's got a chance to get a W here today at Kauffman in front of these great fans that have been packing the house lately. Almost 30,000 per night. Almost last night there was 29,000 something, and another good crowd today. But Hochevar wants to go out there and get it to the pin with a lead.
He has fallen behind Kurt Suzuki, who takes a strike. Count goes 3-1. Kurt went 0 for 2 with a walk yesterday. His first 2 times up, he hit the ball sharply, but right at Alcides Escobar. This entire Oakland team has just been in a major drought. Right to Escobar. He's got a magnet. 1 out.
Kurt Suzuki, he's got to try somebody else, man. He hit the ball hard a couple times last night, right to Escobar, and he's continuing to do that today. That's just stupid hitting, Fizz. I'm sorry. You can't hit. Try somebody else.
You're just going to have to forgive him, Hud.
Yeah.
He's working on it. And remember, he was hitting that left hand by Clay Buchholz and Daniel Bard on back-to-back days on his left hand. So he is not 100%, and neither is their offense. And here's Cliff Pennington, who has 1 hit in his last 26 at-bats. The A's fans are batting 181 with just 38 runs scored over their last 18 games. And during this 9-game losing streak, it's been even worse. They're averaging 1.3 runs per game. shut out by Kansas City last night 2-0. That ball hit in the air to center field, stays up for Dyson. 2 outs. Get downloads up to 50 megabits per second with Time Warner Cable Ultimate Internet. We saw McCarthy reach 94, and Hochevar has thrown a 4-seam fastball at 96. So when you think about it, particularly Luke has 4 different pitches: the 2-seamer, the 4-seamer, the breaking ball, and that changeup. Jemile Weeks tripled his first time up and scored the Oakland run on a ground out by Cowgill. He now has a 9-game hit streak, 12 hits in that span.
Pitch just missed inside, but that's not a bad miss. Come inside, back him off the plate a little.
This is not a guy you want to walk who has 10 stolen bases this year.
Yeah, you want to make him hit his way for sure.
3-0.
You'd think Weeks would give Cliff Pennington a few hits. The shortstop just flew out. It's 0 for 23.
Wow. Luke really got wild with Jemile Weeks. He was pretty much in the zone with Suzuki and Pennington. He did fall behind Kurt 3-0, then threw him a strike, and then got him to ground out. Pennington got him very quickly on a fly ball to center field. Fans on select Thursday nights experience the new NightLifeKC.com lounge located on the Budweiser patio. Tickets are just $30, which gets you in the door. 2 beverage vouchers, a private DJ, plush seating, and much more. Come enjoy this unique atmosphere in an exclusive outdoor lounge. Game dates and tickets at Royals.com/NightLifeKC. Now you've got Speed at first base. Hochevar from the stretch misses badly up and in. That is 5 wild pitches.
Yeah, it looks to me like his mechanics might be a little off in this inning. He's overthrown, his hips coming out a little bit, so he doesn't have a real good downward angle. He's just flying open with his hips.
Weeks does not go. The pitch rides up and in. 2-0. Dangerous time for Hochevar, and Steve Foster is going to go out for a visit. He's replacing Dave Island, who is in Florida for his daughter's graduation. So Steve Foster comes out of the bullpen to become the pitching coach. And Bill Fisher, long time member of professional baseball, like 65 years, is the bullpen coach.
Well, Frosty is what they call Steve Foster. And there's Bill taking over for Frosty, who moves over here to the pitching coach job. He probably saw the same thing I'm seeing. Trying to just stay within himself, keep your delivery a little bit more compact. Let's not let these guys in the inning. You got 2 outs here. Don't worry about the runner. Go after that hitter. Now, if I'm Weeks, I'm going to take second base, get in scoring position. Hochevar does a pretty good job of holding the ball and varies his times home, but falling behind 3-0 on a team that's not hitting very well, it's not a good sign.
That is 7 straight pitches that have missed by Luke Hochevar. Now you're saying, why send Weeks when Hochevar is struggling to find that zone? I think they might wait until it's 3-2 before sending Jemile.
Yeah, there's no urgency now. 3-0.
Walked him on 4 pitches, so back-to-back walks on 8 pitches, and Hochevar all of a sudden has lost his command, his release point, and he has been up and away from the left-handers and up and in to the right-handers. Well, we saw this in the 4th inning yesterday from Felipe Paulino. He got the first 2 outs, then walked Kaiahue and Inge, and then got Coco Crisp to line out. Now he is flirting with trouble because you've got their best power hitter at the plate in Josh Reddick with 14 big flies this year. Rex, it's about the same spot. Up and away from the lefties.
Even the secondary pitches he's missing with him. He's kind of just left that ball up. Looks to me like, like I mentioned, his hips are flying, his shoulders coming out a little bit. He's not staying on top of the ball and pitching downhill.
Finds the zone, but it was up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Through 9 straight pitches out of the strike zone. In this game, Hochevar has thrown a total of 47 pitches. Only 22 have been strikes. Reddick with a mighty rip, misses 1 and 2.
He struck Reddick out in his first at bat with a slider, and it stayed up, fooled Reddick. But let's see if he goes with it again. Want to keep the ball down on a guy that's getting hit for some power.
They throw to second base, back in time is Weeks. Weeks was the man who made a very unwise decision last night when he attempted to steal third base with Reddick at the plate. They had runners at first and second. He attempted to steal third base, and Felipe Paulino, the starting pitcher, stepped off and threw a strike to Moustakas, and they got him. And Reddick was rather unhappy after that at bat. Up the middle, taken by Escobar. That will finish it off. Hochevar pounded his glove as if to say, yeah, got out of it. Let's go find that command. Maybe it's under the dugout.
Earlier, Stephen Rex talking about Steve Foster being in the dugout, filling in, and his replacement, 81-year-old pitching advisor Bill Fisher. And we had Bill Fisher on the pregame show today, and after he was telling us what the guys were like to him out there, and he said they pull a lot of tricks is what they do. He said Jonathan Broxton kept pulling his pant legs down because Fish likes to wear them up high. He said they laid a towel down on the bench for him to sit on and didn't tell him that it was wet, so they were messing with him as far as that goes. And there is Alex Gordon with a hit into the gap fizz.
And he continues to have just amazing success in the leadoff role. And Joel, a lot of people just feel like Alex, for some reason, is more comfortable there.
And you know what? I talked to him about that, and he said his mindset is different. When he's in the middle of the lineup, he's looking to drive in runs. He said to me today, maybe he's just a table setter, and he's obviously getting a lot more comfortable there. So great to see from Alex. And just to finish up the Bill Fisher story, he said a lot of comical stuff goes on out there in the bullpen until about the 6th inning. He said they got gimmicks. They're hitting knuckles and high fives and low fives. And he said he was most surprised at Jonathan Broxton's dry sense of humor and wit. He did say this, guys, whenever the bullpen phone rang, he said he repeated anything they said back to him just to make sure he got it right.
How about Betancourt? Beautiful bunt. This will move Gordon to third base as the Royals will try and take the lead. And Rex, I wanted to ask your opinion about this strategy, because Ned Yost knows Oakland is struggling mightily to score runs, and why not play little ball?
Yeah, it was a good situation, and it's good for Betancourt to show that he can do that. And even though Betancourt swings a pretty good bat the other way, I think that was a really good move in giving himself up, especially when the meat of the order is coming up.
We told you the A's are batting just 181 their last 18 games. They're averaging 2 runs per game in that time. During the 9-game losing streak, even worse. So a 2-1 lead might be like 4-1 to Oakland's offense. And here is Billy Butler, who last time up hit into a 5-4-3 double play. That's when the Royals had something stirred up in the first inning when Gordon and Betancourt singled, but Butler hit into a 5-4-3 double play. A walk to Moustakas and a clutch base hit by Francoeur tied the game at 1.
Okay, we got a shot of Butler's home run on McCarthy. Okay, this was back at their place. Pulled it. It was a ball that was up, and he would like that same swing here to, sure hit a homer, but he wants to get a sac fly for sure and make Yuniesky Betancourt's sacrifice look even better. Infield's in.
Swing and a miss by Billy. Well, his last home run was off Brian Mattis in Baltimore. Since that time, Butler is only 2 for 19. And it's probably the biggest spell he has had this year.
He's swinging in a few pitches that aren't his. All year he's been very well disciplined up there, and we've been seeing him swing outside of his zone a little bit too aggressive, wants to get that run in, and McCarthy saw it when he threw him the first breaking ball, and he finished him off with another one.
So Kansas City now must come up with a run with 2 outs. They did that in the first inning when Francoeur hit a sharp single between short and third base that plated Gordon. Moustakas had walked on 4 pitches prior to that, on 5 pitches, I beg your pardon. It's a 3-1 count when he walked, and then Frenchie knocked home Gordon. Mike down in the count, 0-2.
Okay, Moose walked in his previous at bat. Now with a runner at third here, he's being a little bit more aggressive. Now in this situation, I want to go out there and try to pull something. Just try to make some contact and lay it out there. There's a lot of the field out there, and especially on center to left.
McCarthy will go for the strikeout in these situations. His best game was his 2 starts ago against the Detroit Tigers. That was right before he was placed in the disabled list. He struck out 10 batters, a career high, in 7 innings, and that was a veteran offense in Detroit. Struck him out. Royals had a chance to go in front. he has been a faithful volunteer for the Salvation Army for the past 54 years. He currently volunteers 4 or more days a week with several Salvation Army programs, including disaster relief, adult rehabilitation, homeless outreach, and the children's shelter. So he gets to sit in the Buck O'Neill legacy seat. You know, Buck meant so much to Kansas City. So his seat for every home game is filled by a member of the community who, on a large or small scale, embodies an aspect of Buck's spirit. So Coach Haver trying to get back on beam after he struggled with his command a little bit in that third inning, walking a pair. Now he's opening with Yoenis Cespedes in inning number 4. Coach Haver's allowed 1 run in the first 3 on just 1 Oakland hit. Hit well, right center field. That's a gapper. Cespedes has a 2-base hit. And now an error allows Cespedes to go to third.
Okay, a focus and attention to detail is important. When you got a guy like Cespedes, you can run. Dyson got a little bit careless and couldn't find a handle. And when you drop it one time, you know, Cespedes, he picked up on that right away. He says, all right, we're desperate to score some runs. Let's get to third base with nobody out. Taking advantage of an error.
And that is Dyson's 4th error this year. Too many.
Way too many for a center fielder.
Kaihue is the batter. Coach Haver gets a strike across. They try and get Cespedes at third base, and he barely gets back in time.
Oh, Quintero, man, he snaps and throws to all bases, and he threw a perfect ball. Now, good focus by Moose. This ball could deflect off of Cespedes, and that would have been a run. But that's a perfect throw. Cespedes for the 2nd time in a row and almost got picked off a base in consecutive games.
That ball gets away, and Oakland will take the lead. Wild pitch makes it the Athletics 2, Kansas City 1.
I'd like to bring in another member of our broadcast booth, outstanding partner, great closer in his day, Jeff Montgomery. Monty, are you with us?
I am, Rex.
Monty, now I was seeing Hoach that we threw 9 straight balls in that last inning. It looked like his hips were coming open a little. Might have been overthrowing. What did you see?
Well, there are a lot of things that can go wrong, Rex, when you get in one of those ruts where you can't find the strike zone. Oftentimes, you just got to go back to basics. Usually, it's the arm slot. If you're dropping the arm slot, you're not able to really kind of replicate that arm slot. Things are going to go haywire, and that's what happens. And we see this here with Weeks. Balls just going everywhere. A lot of times, the best thing to do is to throw a breaking ball to kind of get yourself back in, because when you throw a breaking ball, you're actually taking maybe a little bit off the pitch and allows your arm to get on top a little bit easier.
How about your hips? I know hips for hitters important. When a hip leaks, then you don't have much on your swing. How about pitching when you after you separate ball from the glove and you start to come out, if your hips turn open, it's the same thing. Your arm lags a little behind.
Right. When your hips fly open, your shoulders flying open, the real key there is to get to a balance point. If you're balanced, imagine a flamingo on that one leg. You're just hanging in the balance, and then you can open up and allow your arm to get on top, and it opens at the same time that your hips do, and then you can get on top and throw downhill.
Moustakas with a fine run and catch, and Alex Gordon had to bail out of the way. That's the first out of the 4th inning.
Ooh, man, that's a near miss. And Gordon, if he's going for that ball, needs to call it. Moose says, "Hey, I never heard you." So he can smile now, but that's those are accidents waiting to happen.
Actually, what always worries me on a play like that is when a guy wearing spikes steps on someone. You can sever an Achilles tendon. A lot of things can go on with those spikes.
Yeah, hold your breath when that happens. That's why the communication is so important for the outfielder who has priority over the infielders. Let them know if you're going after it. I mean, you got to yell, yell, yell. You teach that in Little League to the kids. Yell loud. You hear a kid might go, "I got it, I got it." No, yell, "I got it, I got it." Let everyone know.
Dyson and Gordon collided in Baltimore, and Gerard missed a game because of a jammed hamstring. He actually said he could have played the next day, but that was the second time where Alex just goes for everything. Now Dyson has a chance for this one. He makes the catch with two hands, Monty.
Yeah, nice to see Gerard, squaring away out there. It is like Rex mentioned, you just got to focus. I mean, it's oftentimes easy to lose focus, make some assumptions that things are not going to happen. And as soon as you lose focus, I don't care if you're playing center field, you're behind the plate, you're a pitcher, you lose focus and you give that little room for the opponent to take advantage of it. We see it happen all the time when that happens.
Well, play with a sense of urgency on every play. Whenever you step out on the field, you are under the microscope, and especially Dyson. I mean, with Lorenzo Cain getting ready, he's playing down there, Gerard needs to really tighten up his game, get behind balls, play like there's a sense of urgency, not like you got 10 years in the majors.
Well, I think a big key, too, is you just have to not make any assumptions that you're going to have an opportunity to play day after day, and you give someone a little room to get in that lineup, oftentimes your opportunity vanishes.
You got that right. Sometimes you never know if you're going to get it back. But Monty, Hoach looking for his first win here at the K. When he was pitching here earlier, he was finding way too much in the middle of the plate. Have you seen some adjustments as far as that goes?
Well, it just seems like he's been more consistent, but I think the biggest thing for Luke is staying away from big innings. We saw 3 innings this year that really account for the majority of the runs he's given up, and it just seemed like he was not able to control the damage in those 3 innings, and obviously you let the thing get out of hand early, it's hard to recover.
Almost got one there. And when you have that kind of stuff, that many weapons, over the long haul, not just missed in. That's, you have a lot of weapons to get guys out with. You have a feel for which pitch is your best one that afternoon, don't you, Monty?
Well, you really do, and that's what you want to do, is you want to bring it in from the bullpen.
And just like you did, Monty, thanks a lot for your insight here today.
Your Midwest Ford dealer. Buy Panera Bread, 23 KC Metro locations and now open in Brookside. Visit us online at PaneraKansas.com. And by AT&T, the world's largest 4G network, AT&T Rethink Possible. Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler, Joe Goldberg, and Jeff Montgomery with you from Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. Jeff Francoeur will lead things off against Brandon McCarthy, who got 2 big strikeouts of Butler and Moustakas, with Alex Gordon at third base. The Athletics came back with a run in their half of the 4th on a double and an error on Dyson that allowed the runner to go to third. He would score on a wild pitch. Francoeur takes a rip and skies it to left field. Sunfield for the left fielder Cespedes, and he makes the catch for out number 1. Just a reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller Time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
You know, the Royals are starting to kind of get their offense a little bit better. Ned's got them all in an order that's a little bit more consistent. And you think about it, the Royals aren't even at full strength yet. Salvador Perez, a big piece of their offensive and defensive puzzle. He's getting well. Lorenzo Cain, they gave him the job in spring training. He looked like an offensive player and a force.
McCarthy will beat Hosmer to the bag for the second out.
So, you know, they get a couple of key guys back with plenty of time left in this season. These guys are going to be good.
Well, we've got to repeat this, Hud, because we couldn't open the bottle. Now we can, so it's a reminder to enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. But I understand Salvi Perez maybe this week will be going out on a rehab assignment. They feel like Lorenzo Cain is not far behind, and Jonathan Sanchez may make one more rehab start and then join the big club. That is indeed a good sign.
Salvi's been playing. He's been catching. He's in spring training, but in that league they have in that summer league. But look, he's had a couple days off here now today and tomorrow, and they're going to let him go back out there again. So he's already getting reps behind the plate and all that.
Escobar lined out to right field his first time up. Well, McCarthy's had a lot of success against right-handers this year.
Yeah, he's got that big curveball, and he's been going to it now more. Second time through the order.
Right-handers just 219 compared to 315 by the lefties, and then a right-hander comes through with a base hit. So maybe we should continue that conversation of the way he has success against right-handers. Hey, Wildcat fans, don't miss K-State Day tomorrow when the Royals take on the Oakland Athletics. The first 750 fans to bring their K-State discounted ticket to the table inside Gate B will redeem a limited edition purple and white Royals cap, compliments of Fox Sports Kansas City and Kansas Sampler. Get your K-State Day discounted tickets now at Royals.com/K-State. And I would like to get one extra cap that I can give Bob Davis, because I know what a big Wildcat fan Bob Davis is.
Ooh, I don't know. Better take your tongue out of your cheek.
Oh, I love Bob. And, you know, actually, he does love the Wildcats. He loves the Jayhawks more. Escobar goes. There's the throw, and it scoots into center field, but a great backup job by Jamiel Weeks, where Escobar would have been on third. That's the 9th steal this year for Alcides Escobar.
Okay, he got a good jump. Ball was down low and a little bit into the path of the sliding Escobar, so that's a tough pick for Pennington. So now Gerard Dyson has a chance. He can find a hole to make up for that error that scored on him.
He looped a single to left field. McCarthy coming off the disabled list. They would keep his. They'd be very aware of how many pitches he threw today and how stressful it might be. Dyson with a weak ground ball struck back to McCarthy, who underhands to first base to record the out. 5th inning we go. Oakland by 1.
Alex Gordon, two Gold Glove caliber outfielders who oftentimes fight like brothers. You'll remember yesterday we had Eddie Money on as a guest. Well, Eddie signed a picture for Jeff Francoeur, and Frenchie has that hanging up there right by his locker because he's a big fan. But what we didn't know is that Alex Gordon claims to be a bigger fan of Eddie Money than Jeff Francoeur. And so he said this morning, this isn't right. Frenchie, you always get everything. How come I never get anything? To which, of course, Frenchie replied, didn't you just get that 5-year contract? But Alex feeling very left out by the whole thing. And I guess word got around because then you see Ned Yost stalking around the clubhouse. He finally finds Alex and he says, hey, Alex, I got this great signed autograph from Eddie Money. I'm not even a fan of his. How come I got one and you didn't? I don't think Ned really got one, but stirring the pot a little bit. So we need to get an autographed Eddie Money something for Alex Gordon.
That can be arranged, but that is what Frenchie got. Eddie Money did a great job singing the national anthem yesterday at Kauffman Stadium and then talked with Joel about his love of baseball. Not only Kansas City baseball, because he talked a lot about George Brett, but he was a big Dodger fan growing up. He used to watch Sandy Koufax pitch. Bunt. Hochaver gets it to first base. Perfectly executed sacrifice by Cliff Pennington. Well, speaking of Frenchie, be a part of the next Frenchie Quarter on June 14th. Come out on Thursday home games to support Jeff Francoeur in his fan seating section. $21 gets you a seat in the right field cheering section, a limited edition Frenchie Quarter t-shirt, and Mardi Gras beads. Tickets at Royals.com/Frenchie. And you know, he is a fan favorite not only here, but in Oakland. And a lot of the A's broadcasters, when they came to watch batting practice yesterday, they immediately went to Jeff and just said, you are an absolute superstar at the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum.
Well, you know, he gets it. He understands. It's about the people. It's a people's game.
And what he has done in the past is they always have these things called Bacon Tuesday, where they make all kinds of delights with bacon. Doesn't matter if it's green beans with bacon or mashed potatoes with bacon or even caramel corn with bacon. And Jeff Francoeur got involved and bought them all bacon. And then he also wrapped a baseball with a $100 bill and tossed it to the people who cooked up the bacon.
And he bought them pizzas too.
Exactly.
But right here now, let's give Kurt Suzuki some props. He finally got one by Escobar to get the inning started. Pennington, in an 0 for 23 slump, sacrificed him over. That's what Chili Davis was talking about for them. In order for Oakland to get back on their scoring runs and winning ways, they're going to have to do some small ball, and this is what they're doing here.
And Hutton, this is not Moneyball. Moneyball was power. A lot of walks, a lot of power, a lot of strikeouts. But they are getting back to the basics with the sacrifices and the stolen bases. The A's ranked third in the American League in stolen bases with 43.
Yeah, you know, that's in the past. You have to play the players that have the skill level to do those kind of things. And when you don't have those kind of players, you have to adjust to the skill of your players.
Now Weeks has been hot.
Weeks is 133 hitter with the runner in scoring position. He has been hot, but he's a leadoff guy. He's not used to driving in runs. That's what he is here. He's going to just try to find a hole. Hochaver falling behind him is going to end up having to come in there and give him a good pitch to hit.
He's batting close to 400 in his career against the Royals. Now 43 at bats. Tripled his first time today and scored in the ground out by Cowgill. Walked his last time up. Back even at 2-2. Hochaver has struck out a pair. Struck out Reddick in the first, Crisp in the second.
Okay, Frenchie and Gordon, corner outfielders. If a base hit comes to them, they can't wait to throw a runner out at the plate. If Matt Gallego, the third base coach, sends Suzuki, depending on how hard the ball's hit.
Weeks just 25 years of age, from Orlando, Florida. Learned a lot from his brother Ricky Weeks. Jamal had a great debut campaign last year, hitting over 300. Gets away from the catcher Quintero, and now that will send Suzuki to third base. So the Royals not defending well at all. A wild pitch scored a run, an error by Dyson set that run up, and now a passed ball allows a runner to get to third. Now a ground out or a fly ball could make it 3-1 Oakland.
The ball was catchable, and you could certainly be able to see a pitch that's going to be up like that, and Quintero just missed it. So that's going to bring the infielders in, increase the chances for Weeks to get one through him. You'd love a punch out here.
Outfielders are shallow, Gordon and Dyson. Suzuki has average speed, above average really. Francoeur is in his regular spot in right field, and that is mainly because he probably has the best arm of the three. Gordon has an outstanding arm, but Frenchie's release a tad quicker. So a walk to Weeks, that'll put him on first and third, and now Hochevar has to worry about Weeks stealing second base. Another dangerous time in this game for Kansas City. Hochevar does not have the command that we saw earlier this year, certainly against the Chicago White Sox, or when he was on the mound ending that 12-game losing streak in Cleveland. Very aggressive down in the strike zone.
Well, his arm angle's a little bit off.
Strike one to Colin Cowgill, who has grounded out and walked. Kansas City wants to stay close because McCarthy is throwing awfully well for Oakland. Now, this is his first start back from the disabled list, but he has only thrown 48 pitches in 4 innings.
Yeah, looking to get a double play and get out of it.
Well, he pulled off that pitch, and now he's down in the count, 0-2.
That's what you want. Off-speed pitches get the front side of the hitter to leak. Your top hand and roll your hands over. Moustakas, the third baseman, he's playing even with the bag. Now that's a mistake. It's up. Cowgill tried to do too much with it. If I'm Bob Melvin, I'm sending Weeks. Stay out of that double play. Even if it is 0-2. Weeks, he's going to take your chances sometimes, and we'll see if Quintero elects to try to throw him out. Or I don't think that they would do a double steal, but it's possible.
Cowgill barely got a piece of that one, fouled it back to the screen. Hochevar has thrown a lot of pitches, 83, and not yet through 5. His pitch efficiency has not been as sharp as Brandon McCarthy's. Royals won last night 2-0. Paulino really worked quickly and aggressively. Kansas City has won 5 of their last 6 games, while Oakland has lost their last 9. Weeks does not run. Well, he's letting Cowgill back in the count. Now it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Does not want to go 3-2. Gallegos flashing the signs to Jemile Weeks, who's 10 stolen bases this year.
They'll fake to third to see if they could get Weeks off. Weeks didn't look like he was running.
Does not go. The pitch is fouled off the right side. Long battle between Colin Cowgill, just 25 years old, out of Lexington, Kentucky, trying to prove himself to the Oakland A's that he deserves to be on the 25-man roster. He's bouncing back and forth between the big leagues and Sacramento, AAA Sacramento, earlier this year. Weeks does not go, and the pitch is swung on and missed. And Hochevar gets a big strike out of Cowgill here in the 5th inning. Now my question, Rex Hudler, will you send Weeks with Josh Reddick up?
You know, I'm going to let Reddick try to get on track here, get a big hit. He might want to send him with the left-handed batter there. Could be a little distraction for Quintero.
Reddick has been their big RBI guy early this year. 14 home runs, 27 driven in. This is the 3rd time in this series that Reddick has been up with men in scoring position. The first 2 times he did not come through, including the 1st inning of this one.
Your 3 and 4 hitters coming up. You don't want them leading off the inning.
I beg your pardon, including the 3rd inning of this one. That's when they had the back-to-back walks, and then he hit a one-hopper to Escobar, who took care of him. Hit pretty well to right field, and that will score at least 1. Weeks is being sent home. He will score. It's a triple for Josh Reddick, and he comes through to make it 4-1 Oakland.
That's why you don't steal it. You let your power guys do what they're supposed to do. Law of averages, the way they've been struggling there. They're due to get a big hit, and that was one for him. A little breaking ball that left out over the plate. Reddick with a short, quick swing pulls it in. And in these cavernous gaps here at the K, that's 3 bags. So the 3rd walk ends up scoring from first, a speedy guy.
Tim Collins is starting to throw for Kansas City down in their pen. Blooper towards right. That'll plate one more, making it 5-1 Oakland.
Okay, you can kind of see now the wheels are starting to turn a little bit, and they're starting to get their hits now. Oakland, they've been down for a long time, and they're starting to get a little. When you get a doinker hit like that for a ribby, maybe the worm's turning. That's what the Oakland A's are saying.
And Ned Yost will make the move right now. He will not wait any longer. Luke Hochevar, he struggled at the same time in his last outing against the Baltimore Orioles. 4 2/3. Every inning was an effort, but he left with 2 out in the 5th inning, and he will leave with 2 out here in the 5th after giving up back-to-back hits by Reddick and Cespedes that have made it 5-1 Oakland. To MLB.tv today to see every Royals out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Royals.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. 5 runs for Oakland as we have our Chevy called to the bullpen. And Tim Collins comes on with a 2.4 earned run average. Look at that outstanding whip. Anything under 1 is outstanding. And Tim Collins will face KCA, and his first pitch is driven into right center field, and that ball will be off the wall. It will score 1 more to make it a 6-1 Oakland lead. So Collins comes in, throws 1 pitch, gives up a long double, so you can shut the door on the afternoon by Luke Hochevar, who gave up 6 runs in 4 2/3 innings.
Oh, he's sitting on a fastball right there, dead red, and it's above the belt. That's a ball saying hit me. KCA guessed right.
The 6 runs, the most scored in this 9-game losing streak that Oakland has suffered. Still a long way to go. We're just in the 5th inning. But the Royals need to put a finger in that dike. It is leaking pretty badly here in the 5th. A strike in there. Inge went. And the count is 0-2. Kansas City had won 5 of their last 6. Oakland had lost 9 in a row and were just 3-13 since May 15th being shut out 6 times in that span. High and tight, 1-2.
So, you know, sometimes when your team's been struggling like the Oakland A's have, you give them a mental break, no batting practice. Now, there are some managers that might disagree and say, no, we're not producing, we need to go out and hit. But sometimes when you pull back on the reins and let the guys just do some hitting in the cage, it gives you a mental break. And when you don't necessarily need a physical break, it's more mental, and so far it's worked. These guys have come out and they've got some big hits.
It was a 1-1 game until the 4th. A wild pitch by Hochevar made it 2-1. And after getting a critical strikeout of Cowgill in this 5th inning, looked like Luke might be able to get out of a jam with 2 outs, but he did not. And Collins strikes out Brandon Inge to end the inning. But 4-run score for the Oakland Athletics. Now they now lead Kansas City 6-1. every single Kansas City rally, and Luke Hochevar was not able to do that as he allowed 4 runs in that last inning. Steve Physiak along with Rex Hudler. Now it's the Royals offense's responsibility to be a little sharper and somehow get to Brandon McCarthy, who's coming up the DL.
Unsquelch him. That's right. Get some base hits, get him on, get him over, get him in. This offense, they have plenty here. Get a couple guys on and get a big hit, they can get right back in this game.
Is that a new Rex word? Unsquelch him?
No, you said that McCarthy's been squelching any kind of rallies, but it's time to unsquelch him.
Okay. Humberto Quintero skies one in the air, right center field, and in the gap is the center fielder Coco Crisp to run it down. There's 1 out. The fan vote to pick the starters for this year's All-Star game in Kansas City has started. You can now vote for all of your favorite Royals players. Play your part by punching a ballot when you come out to the game, or go to Royals.com/vote to crown a Royal. Kansas City playing better baseball, so you have more options. I know we have been pushing the likes of Billy Butler and Alcides Escobar and Mike Moustakas this year for their first 2 months' work. And you'd love to have a great Kansas City representative there, or representatives, in this year's All-Star game, which will be right here at the K.
Absolutely. But so far, Gordon, he's really looking good. He's adjusted his swing. He's not over swinging. Now that ball inside, he's going to turn on that one. But the single to the opposite field, the double, let's show you the head position. Watch where he is now. He's not over swinging, taking what they give him. That ball is a sinker away, and to get that on the barrel, you have to be able to have good head position. His head position is really nice on the follow through. You see how he's able to keep his head down, and there's another ball to the opposite way. That's got out of the baseline there a little bit, but still, when you hit the ball to the opposite field, you're seeing the ball longer, and you're giving yourself a better chance for base hits. Brandon Inge just acknowledged to Kai Hui, hey, good job, way to come off the base, way to make that play.
2 outs now in the 5th inning. The batter will be Yuniesky Betancourt, who has singled and sacrificed, so he is 1 for 1. Royals and Athletics each have 6 hits, but the A's have 6 runs, taking advantage of every single Kansas City mistake. And the Royals have not played a clean game, with an error, a wild pitch, a pass ball influencing the Oakland offense. Out of play. And McCarthy's pitch efficiency has been excellent through 18 in the first. After that, forget it, guys. I'm getting you out quickly.
And more importantly for him, try to retire the Royals 1-2-3, keep the momentum in that A's dugout.
Fouled back. Betancourt came off the disabled list yesterday after missing 26 games, and Ned Yost says, I think we're turning the corner. We're getting our guys back and healthy, and hopefully Perez and Kane will be here shortly. That ball popped up. Foul territory. Inge calls off the catcher Suzuki and makes a snow cone catch. That will retire the side. We head to the 6th inning. It's all Athletics. Week. What do you like the most? Enter today. Will Smith gets his first win, or Frenchie's home run extends the streak. Hosmer's first home run in May, or Broxton makes it 4 for 4. Text 432-432 and enter the keyword Royals to make your vote. Here's Tim Collins ready for the 6th inning of work. He gave up a double that plated the final run. That was charged to Luke Hochevar, who gave up 6 runs in 4 2/3 this afternoon. Coco Christ now batting from the right side, a switch hitter from Southern California. And this Monday, Rex, will be the Major League Baseball draft. And the Royals will pick 5th. Houston goes first, then Minnesota, then Seattle, followed by Baltimore, and then Kansas City. Popped up on the infield, Mike Moustakas down the line. Near home plate, makes the catch for out number 1. The Royals, Fox Sports, and the state of Missouri are teaming up to help you stop smoking now. The state of Missouri tobacco quit line, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Beautiful look at Kauffman Stadium. Good crowd on hand. Unfortunately, they are seeing the Royals trail the Oakland Athletics, a team that once played here in Kansas City. You may have noticed that the caps they gave away are different color than the uniforms worn by the Oakland team. And that actually happened in Bill Fisher's final year with the Kansas City A's, when they moved from the red and blue colors, and oftentimes they went with black uniforms as well, black trim, to Kelly green and yellow.
Yep, and Fisher told me because Charlie O'Finley loved Notre Dame. He changed him to those colors. He thought he wanted to have his players with him, and also he said the jerseys had their nicknames on their back.
That's right, Campy.
Yep, and for Bill Fisher, it was Fish.
Campy Campaneris. That pitch is low, and one of the funny things I remember, Rex, coming out here as a kid, actually was at Old Municipal Stadium when I watched the Kansas City A's play. The grounds crew one time, Charlie O'Finley dressed up in spacesuits, and they would drag the infield in spacesuits, and you're going, what's going on here?
Well, you know, the owner was creative. He thought 5 years ahead. He wasn't thinking in the present day. He was always thinking about the future and ahead and how he can market his team. You got to give him a lot of credit for some of the things that he did. I mean, Bill Fisher was cracking up when he said they've had that little rabbit pop up in back of home plate with the balls. And then he talked about the outfield, how he had, the mule out there, of course, and then also the lambs that were out there,
the sheep with the shepherd.
Yeah, that stuff didn't happen unless you had a creative mind, and it had to come from the ownership.
Well, he did have a creative mind. Didn't pay that well. We were listening to Joe Goldberg's interview with Bill Fisher, who's the bullpen coach today. And a swing and a miss, and down goes Kurt Suzuki. So a good comeback effort by Tim Collins after falling behind Suzuki and giving him a hitter's situation. He strikes him out. Second K for Tim Collins.
Well, the changeup that he's using, that's a very effective pitch for him. Everybody knows that he's got the good fastball, but that changeup is a straight changeup. It doesn't have a lot of movement into the righties or away from the lefties, or it doesn't have that type of movement. It's a straight change, so he can use it to any hitters. And when the 95 like Kai Hui was sitting on in that last inning when he came in, he's got to have an equalizer, or something that changes speeds that comes out of the same arm angle. And that's a good pitch for him.
Cliff Pennington takes a breaking ball in. 1 ball and 1 strike.
So when you have a guy like Collins that has 3 pitches that you can use him in multiple innings, at least 2 innings. He's got different weapons he can get guys out with.
Fouled off. The count moves to 1-2. Rex, I thought it was interesting when Joe Goldberg was talking with Bill Fisher about the record that he set. What was it, 83 innings?
58 innings without a walk.
Without a walk. 84 innings without a walk.
Okay.
Beg your pardon. Collins set. But Finley was going to give him extra money when it started going up. And he was going to give him more money for every inning. He didn't walk a batter. Well, Fish kept on going, and then Finley said, you know, I let my heart get in the way of a good decision, so I can't give you the money. And Fish said he eventually got the money, but Finley made it back on the next contract.
It's guys like Fish that paid their dues for players like me and these former players and these current players that are out there that we need to appreciate. And whenever you see a guy like that put in his time that didn't get compensated the way the guys are today, that you go ahead and say, hey, Fish, thanks for your service time for me.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear their responses. Lots of guys, when you say that to them, they go, oh wow, hey, thank you, young man. You're right. I paved the way for you.
Swung on and missed. Tim Collins with a couple of strikeouts in the sixth. The Royals bullpen continues to be fantastic, but they still trail by 5. The sixth is our Sonic Slam inning, and our contestant is Henry Avila from Lee Summit. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Henry will win $500, but if the Royals hit a grand slam, Henry will win $25 grand from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. Royals have not been able to pressure Brandon McCarthy. He has had great stuff, terrific command coming off the disabled list.
Now he's doing everything you want your starting pitcher to do. Get early count outs, throw strikes. Next pitch will be his 59th pitch.
He came in with an excellent ERA, 2.95, even though he had a record of 503 and 3. And it was mainly because his team was not giving him runs.
How about 46 strikes to 13 balls?
Pretty good.
Yeah, he's pounding the strike zone. He's got good movement on his sinker, his cutter, his curveball. He's been using effectively when there has been a few guys getting on. He's keeping them off balance.
Billy Butler works a walk. We were just talking about McCarthy's great command in this game, and he had walked only one prior to this leadoff walk to Billy Butler. And that man was Mike Moustakas, who now comes to the plate. And Mike will dig in from the left side. Bills haven't had too many opportunities. McCarthy's only thrown 61 pitches, so he's able to work deeper. Bob Melvin will be careful. He was put on the disabled list because of soreness in his right shoulder, and he's had a problem in that area in the past.
You know, May 17th.
High fly ball to right. Cowgill. 1 out.
May 17th was how long he's been out. It's been a long time, so they're going to kind of be careful with him. Make sure that they can keep this guy in their rotation.
They're beginning to stretch out there in the Oakland bullpen. Royals would like to take a shot at somebody besides McCarthy. And I mean, he's had some really good starts this year. We told you, completely shut down one of the best offenses in the American League Central in Detroit and struck out a career high 10. Ray Fosse, the terrific radio and television broadcaster for the Athletics, who knows the game quite well, he said it was the best curveball he's ever seen from Brandon. That's against the likes of Prince Fielder and Miguel Cabrera. Base hit right field. So the Royals with a start. Butler will stop at second base. Let's now ask our AT&T trivia question. Who are the 3 players to appear in the most All-Star games all time? We'll give you the answer later in the game. We know our guy, Mr. Brett, went to 13. Had a lot of success. 2 on for the left-handed batting Eric Hosmer, who is 0 for 2 in this game.
Big hit gets him back in it.
A strike to Eric. It's 0-1.
I mean, a big hit. That ball needs to take a drink.
Well, this is a guy who can deliver. He's been a little quiet lately. He had a fantastic rookie season, hitting .293 with 19 home runs and 78 RBIs, but going through some growing pains in his sophomore year. Checked his swing. Did he go? They do not even appeal, as it misses. 1 ball and 1 strike. So showing respect to Eric Hosmer, not delivering a fastball yet. Way inside. He did throw him a fastball at 91. But almost under the arms of Eric. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Left-handers have gotten 4 dingers off him, and that's little cutters that are left out over the plate. Maybe he'll leave one here.
Wind is blowing out towards right now. Hit well, left field, over the head of Cespedes. Butler will score. Francoeur is being held at third base. Kansas City has cut Oakland's lead to 4.
Okay, there's a ball out over the plate that he didn't try to pull, which was good. If he tries to pull that, he might have hit a ground ball or popped it up, but he went with it. You see that high flamingo kick? It's all timing. When that comes down, that bat head comes through. Good head position, good lean. That ball was way over Cespedes' head. No chance. Frenchie got a pretty good read at the first base runner. You see him, he slowed down some. He had to, because he didn't want to get caught, get doubled off, but Billy Butler will score for sure.
Eighth double this year, and for Eric, that is 15 extra base hits in this is 49th game. Last year he had 49 extra base hits in 128 games after being called up in May. Balfour is starting to warm up in the Athletics pen as Kansas City with a base hit to close the gap to just a pair.
The bottom third of the order coming up. Escobar, Dyson, Quintero. Don't look for the long ball, just look for the holes. shorten your swing. Try to find one out there somewhere.
And Escobar has had 2 very good at-bats in his first 2 times up. First time up, he lined out to right field. And his last time up, it looked like McCarthy tried to come in on him, and he just pulled the ball through the hole between short and third. Stole second base, but was left stranded. Blooper towards right. In comes Cowgill. He is there to make the catch. No advance. Now they will send Francoeur, and he will be tagged out. And Frenchie arguing with the home plate umpire, Paul Schreiber, saying he did not tag me. Quite frankly, I was a little surprised that the Royals were that aggressive on Cowgill's arm.
Okay, now he took a chance. Frenchie did. Took a chance, and with the bottom third of the order coming up, maybe he would taking the chance that it would be a bad throw. But Frenchie definitely leaped him. He cleared him, and he touched the plate. That's a heck of a slide right there. Wow, we'll check that out when we come back. But Frenchie was right.
By Thoroughbred Ford. The best deals on new Fords are at thoroughbredford.com. And by AT UVerse, the new wireless receiver from AT UVerse. Visit att.com/free your TV. Rethink possible. Kansas City scores a run at home against Oakland, now trailing by 4, 6-2. New pitcher is Lewis Coleman, and he will come on to face Jemile Weeks, Colin Cowgill, and Josh Reddick. Weeks.
Frenchie had an argument. That last play to end the inning. The inning should still be going on right now.
This is our Chevy call to the bullpen, bringing on Coleman. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Frenchie made an outstanding effort to get over the tag of Suzuki, and he touched the plate, and Suzuki missed. Otherwise, Suzuki wouldn't have went back to tag him.
Paul Schreiber was in the proper angle, but because of that angle, he couldn't see through the catcher to see where he missed the tag.
Uh-oh, Quintero and Schreiber are getting at it right now.
And here comes Ned.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
He has just thrown out Humberto Quintero.
Oh, well, I think Schreiber didn't like Quintero putting his arms up on a call, and it kind of showed him up, and I could see Schreiber saying, you know, don't put your arms up and show me up. So now Ned, while he's out there, he might as well get his money's worth too, because Schreiber missed that call at home plate. That's probably what he's saying. That's exactly what he's saying.
Ned's trying to get tossed for the first time this year. He has really given it to Paul Schreiber.
Well, he's going to get back in the dugout. So Brian Pena will have to put that gear on and get out there and try to keep these Oakland A's from scoring any runs. Okay, now watch Quintero. He liked this. He liked where that pitch was, and he said something to Schreiber, and he's saying, "You missed that pitch." And now Schreiber's putting his arms up in the air. And sometimes that happens behind there. You know, Quintero's not really thrilled with what's been going on today.
Let's take a look at our AT&T U-verse reverse. It's the play at the plate involving Jeff Francoeur.
Okay, we can see now this is a shallow fly ball with a guy with a pretty good arm, so he didn't think Frenchie was going, but Suzuki with the tag. Frenchie, great job. How could Schreiber miss that? He was right there in perfect position, and Frenchie, he says, now you saw Kurt Suzuki. This angle will show it here. Okay, good job of holding on to that ball, but watch Frenchie. He lifts him up, never tagged him, and then watch Suzuki. Kurt Suzuki will come back after Frenchie to re-tag him. That tells you that he missed him. What happens?
The count is 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jemile Weeks. And Weeks will be on for the 4th time. A triple, a pair of walks, and a single. He is the one Oakland Athletic who has been hot in the last 1 month drought.
Now we just watch the catcher. Watch Suzuki. He knows he missed him, so and once he saw Schreiber call him out, he wasn't going to go re-tag him. He never touched me, Frenchie said.
Well, he'll have a chance to take a look at that. Umpires, referees really under a lot of criticism lately, and Rex, quite frankly, I think it's unfair. I think the technology has become so superior that we can show mistakes. And way back in the 50s and 60s, when we didn't have all of these super slow-mos, umpires made mistakes then, but so did ball players.
No, you're right. But take, for example, the first no-hitter in Mets history was really not a no-hitter.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, a guy hit a ball
down the line
on the chalk. You even had the chalk to prove it, where the ball mark was.
But Santana got the first in Mets history. You know, I was listening to Ron Darling talk about it. He pitched for the New York Mets, and he said, you know, we're all a member of a fraternity. He said, me and David Cohn and Tom Seaver and all those guys. And he goes, I'm just so glad that it wasn't one of those multi no-hit games where 4 pitchers were involved, that it was a great pitcher who got the very first no-hitter in Mets history.
And he had to do it with about 135 pitches or so. And Terry Collins, the managers, they were asking him after the game how he felt. He goes, well, it's pretty exciting and pretty special for the organization, but if he can't make his next start, I'll feel pretty bad. 134 pitches he threw.
Fouled back.
But I see instant replay expanding.
I do too.
In the near future. Not this year, but I would expect it maybe in 13 and 14 seasons.
But it is interesting how we understand mistakes by ball players, but we expect perfection by our officials, whether they're basketball officials or umpires or referees in football.
You know,
and that's one of the great elements of the game that I enjoy. That
human element. Mm-hmm. Right. But, you know, in the umpire's defense, when it comes to calling balls or strikes, that's an imaginary strike zone, and they have to use their own interpretation. When a basketball referee, he can see and hear a foul. He can call that. But this is a little different game here. And I think they might get help with maybe some plays at the plate or some foul line shots, just like we saw yesterday. And I see it coming. And Bud Selig will have to address that. He already did, saying he's not going to do it this year. No more changes this year.
The count is now 2 balls and 2 strikes. But Bud did put in the extra wild card this year, and I think that is going to make it more advantageous to the smaller and medium market teams to have a chance to get to postseason.
One game playoffs, man, those are nail biters.
You were involved in one.
Oh man.
Swing and a foul back, and I know you don't like to talk about yourself, so I'll bring it up myself. It was Seattle against the Angels. Randy Johnson, what was it, 8 days rest against Mark Langston, who's an outstanding left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, it was a great game, but you know, Randy Johnson was throwing 100, and it was a one-game do or die up in the Kingdome. The place was, I mean, the noise was not healthy. That's how loud it was. Good pitch.
Strike three call. Coleman with a big strikeout of Colin Cowgill here in the 7th.
My ears after that game in the Kingdome rang for 2 days after. It was just loud and noisy. And, you know, it's intense. That was one game. I think it's going to be really exciting for these teams. One day, one game, your best against our best. Let's see who makes a mistake and who wins the game.
And that will also make it more advantageous for those that win their division, because all of a sudden the best pitcher for the wild card team has already pitched in that playoff game. So it'll be the 2 guy against the 1 guy, and the edge goes to the division winner, you would think.
Randy Johnson had a no-hitter into the 7th inning, and I squeaked a little dribbler by Tino Martinez and Joey Cora at first base. And I was running to first, and Randy Johnson was running to cover, and I was screaming at him, "Not today, unit! Not today!" And he just shook his head and went back to the mound.
Did you beat your chest like he would have done after a strikeout?
No, I waited till I hit a home run off him. Then I punked him. I got him back.
Indeed.
But, you know, it'll be an exciting finish this year for sure.
Here is Josh Reddick, who had the big hit of the day when the score was 2-1. Oakland back in inning number 5, 2 outs. Luke Hochevar still had a chance after striking out Cowgill, but Reddick ripped a double that drove in 2, and that kind of busted the game open. That was followed by hits by Cespedes and Kaihue. 6-1 after that. Kansas City came back with a run in the 6th to make it 6-2, and had a chance for one more, and it really should be a 6-3 ball game, as you saw the replay of Francoeur scoring. They said Suzuki got him. Doesn't matter if he did or didn't. If the umpire says he's out, he is out. 3-2. I thought they might send Weeks when Cowgill was at the plate, but not Reddick. He might go on 3-2 though with 1 out. He goes. Pitch is fouled off. Although I will say this, Coleman is so quick home.
Yep. It's hard to get a good break off of him, but you got to move the runner there.
New catcher because Quintero was tossed, arguing with home plate umpire Paul Schreiber. Pena on. He does not have the arm or the release of Quintero. But he'll get help from Coleman. And there's ball 4. So Lewis has given up a base hit to Jemile Weeks, struck out Cowgill, walked Reddick, and now Cespedes, who has broken out of a little slide after coming off the disabled list, went 0 for his first 5, and then doubled, then singled. He has scored a couple of runs and driven 1 home. Let's answer our AT&T trivia question. Once again, it was, who are the 3 players to appear in the most All-Star games all time? And the answer
How about
is
Hammer and Hank.
You bet. Aaron, Mays, and Musial all in 24 All-Star games. And I had a chance to see Mr. Mays and Mr. Aaron in the 73 All-Star game right here at Royal Stadium. And I had seats a little bit behind the National League dugout, and it was cool to see Hammer and Hank Aaron come out And I think that's what a lot of fans are going to be enjoying this year when they come to the ballpark and they get here early to see the Futures game and they see the home run hitting contest. But for me, Rex, it was more that I got to see ball players I never got to see before because there was no interleague play, and to see Mays and to see Aaron and to see Seaver, it was pretty cool. Weeks is coming out of the game, so they will lose their fastest player, and in comes Adam Rosales. Fans, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Royals. Coleman facing Cespedes. He throws him ball one.
Coleman's going to sweep the slider away on him and hope he can keep it down. Get Cespedes to hit into a double play. Some ground into 3 this year. That would be the best case for Lewis.
Breaking ball just does catch the outside corner. One ball, 2 strikes. Coleman might be saying, well, if he'll swing at that pitch, I might throw him one a little bit further away and see if he'll chase another. This is game 2 of this 3-game series. Royals won last night 2-0. They'll go again tomorrow. Plenty of tickets available for the 1 o'clock game with Vin Mazzaro against Tommy Malone. Mazzaro came up in the Oakland organization, and he'll be facing his old team.
Sometimes after sweeping that slider a couple times to the batter and you got a swing and miss on it, you can also come inside. He's got a pretty good fastball. He can surprise him and jam him into a double play. But we'll see what they decide to throw him here. Get out of this inning with a well-placed ball.
Moustakas with a great play. They do not get the double play, but Moustakas saves a run.
Yeah, he putting something inside. Looked like a little off speed, but Moose was there on the dive. But that's a one-hopper and awkwardly turning and throwing to second base.
That's an accurate throw from your knee.
Yeah, and that was really a super play. That would have been a run for sure. 2 runs probably.
Kaihue comes up. He is 1 for 3 in the game. Jumped in the first pitch he saw from Tim Collins and ripped it in the alley for a double, and that ended the scoring against Luke Hochevar. Hochevar's day, 6 runs in 4 2/3 innings. Dots the outside corner. It's 0-2. Kaihue ended that 4 for 38 drought he had been in for his last 12 games with that double in the gap in right center field that drove in the final run for Oakland. They're trying to add on here in the 7th inning. Swing and a miss. Kaihue is out as Pena picks the baseball up and touches the athlete and heads to the dugout, trailing by 4. Oakland scored their most runs in their last 10 games. The Royals with runs in the first and sixth, but that has been it, and they're quiet again with just 2 last night and 2 today. Hochevar, for the second straight start, only made it 4 2/3 innings. He gave up 6 earned against a team that he has never beaten. Came in 0-6 with an earned run average over 6.
I'll tell you though, now with Jamal Weeks coming out of the game, let's see if we can see anything. Okay, he kind of took off, and you know, as he run, you couldn't see a limp, but he ran by second base. He kind of grabbed his groin a little bit right there. Now he's kind of doing a little bit of running, and you wonder, Bob Melvin taking him out of the game, was that precautionary, or did something go on? Because, boy, I tell you, Ben Mazzaro wouldn't mind it tomorrow if that kid Jamal Weeks wasn't in there.
No question, because they've got a young left-hander who's really been successful this year going for Oakland, and Tommy Milone. Grant Balfour is the new pitcher, and he has been their closer this year. 7 saves in 9 opportunities, but it looks like Brian Fuentes would get the responsibility to close this one. So they're bringing on Balfour in inning number 7. He will face Gerard Dyson, Humberto Quintero, and Alex Gordon.
Pena is going to be in there for Quintero.
Exactly.
But Dyson's job, do anything to get on base. Balfour, good hard fastball, slider.
I had not scratched it out of my scorebook yet that Quintero, he had been tossed in that last frame, arguing with the home plate umpire Paul Schreiber. Pena came on, and now he's in the on deck circle, a switch hitting catcher. Dyson will drop one into left field. That's a good start. And Dyson with a 2-for-3 game. Both have been opposite field lob shots.
Exactly what he wants to do. Lob them on base. Let some of your more productive guys that can come up and drive you home. Creep back in it. Never give up. And that's one of the things that opposing managers say a lot about this Royals team. These guys, they keep coming. They keep coming. Jim Leland, he'd say to man, you know, they're a pesky bunch.
And you really believe that they're still not firing on all cylinders.
No, they're not. We talked about how they got 2 big cogs of their offensive wheel and defensive with Salvador Perez and Lorenzo Cain. Going to be back in the near future.
The Royals have scored or have won 5 of their last 6 ball games, but you can really pat the bullpen on the back. In those 5 wins, they have not allowed a run in 18 innings. And it just seemed like every time Kansas City got the lead, the pen just nailed it down. The count is 0-2 on Brian Pena, with Dyson at first base. Suzuki took a peek into the dugout as if to say, you want me to pitch out? They don't. Pena dumps it on the left side into the seats.
Okay, but you know, it's going to be important with the maturity of the Royals offense that they start believing that they can come back and win games. But you got to do it first. You got to bust a closer. You got to have some comeback wins. You got to be able to tell yourself, we've done it before, we can do it again. And that's a good trait to establish in your ball club.
Double plays have really hurt would-be rallies in this game. In the first inning, they had Gordon and Betancourt on with nobody out, and Butler hit it to a 5-4-3 double play. Then in the second inning, Dyson with speed on, got on, and Quintero hit into a 6-3 inning-ending double play. And then, of course, in that 6th inning, and it looked like the Royals had everything going, and they had runners in second and third with just 1 out. Escobar hit a soft fly ball to right. Cowgill made the catch and doubled up Francoeur, allegedly at home plate, for the inning-ending double play.
Oh, Pena here with 2 strikes wants to keep his 2-strike approach. Try to just stay level with your swing, make some contact, and find a hole. If you try to do too much, you roll over into a double play. Keep the inning going here. Top of the order coming up with Gordon, Betancourt, Butler. This is how you creep back into games. You never quit. You never give up. Because anything can happen in baseball. You're 4 runs down. There's no need in going out there and stealing a base and getting caught, especially with nobody out. So play it safe. Pena's got a big hole on that right side. If he can get a pitch in, he can pull it right by him, get Dyson to third.
Left field. That will drop. Dyson races for third and makes it successfully. And Pena goes to second base. If Cespedes goes to second, Rex, I don't think Pena tries to advance, and they still have the double play in order.
No, that's a heck of a 2-strike approach hitting right there. Just what we're talking about. Find a hole, shorten up your swing, take what he gives you. Okay, we see the super slow-mo coming. It's a fastball in the outer half. Pena says, I'm not going to pull him. I'm going to just use my bottom hand, guide to the ball, let the top hand follow, and serve it out there. Now, you're right. Cespedes doesn't have a lot of experience in the outfield. Should have caught that ball, planted it through to second base to keep the double play in order at least. But, hey, since he didn't, now same approach. Gordon, he's been swinging a pretty hot bat today. Looks good going to the opposite field. Now you drive in a couple.
Alex is 2 for his last 3. A single in the first, and he scored on the base hit by Jeff Francoeur. Then a double in the third inning. Alex takes ball 1, and Gordon has not homered in 124 at bats. That goes back 31 games.
Now you'd like to see it, but if you keep this approach right here, short to the ball, trying to find the holes, going to the opposite field just like that with short, compact swings, you're going to do more for your team. You get the lousy singles, the home run comes. All he needs is to find a hole. Here, he doesn't need to go deep. That was what got them in trouble early in their 12-game losing streak. Guys trying to do too much.
But with that easy swing in his last home run, he launched one over 430 feet at Minneapolis, Minnesota. Absolutely crushed it on a beautiful level swing.
Yeah, but that was eons ago.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, just keep his approach he's got going right now. Pena can get a pretty good secondary lead.
2-1.
Gordon looks relaxed at the plate. That's the key to hitting. In a reaction game, the looser, the quicker you are. See how he's just swinging that bat back and forth like that? That's keeping him loose in between while the pitcher's getting the sign.
2 balls and 2 strikes. As Balfour backed off, looked like Gordon was expecting fastball, and Grant said not here on even on a fastball count.
We have another 2-strike approach here, 2-2.
Kevin Seitzer always says think up the middle. Just hit it right back at the pitcher. But Alex chases a bad ball in the dirt, strikes out 1, huge out in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Okay, Balfour, 2-2 count. He's got a chance to waste it. See how he's on top of that ball and threw that slider down. Got him to swing at his pitch.
Bad ball in the dirt. Now Betancourt will try and come through. He has singled, sacrifice, and popped up in this game.
Be ready for that first fastball if it comes in there. Be ready for it. May not see another one. Okay, it wasn't a fastball. Good job. He just took it. First base is open. If Balfour wants to play with Betancourt with Billy Butler on deck, go ahead. Betancourt can sense that. But you still have to be in hit mode in this situation to drive in those runs.
Betancourt to center field. It will stay up for Coco Crisp. Tagging is Dyson. He will easily score to make it 6-3. So Betancourt does get the sacrifice fly, cutting the lead in half.
Yeah, that's automatic. Coco Crisp doesn't have a good throwing arm, so you're going to go ahead and go with no problem.
And you've just got to believe that Billy Butler is ready to break out. He has just 2 hits in his last 19 at bats. Was hit into a double play in this game. Struck out with a runner at third base in the 3rd and walked open the 6th inning. He takes strike 1 here.
So sometimes when you get into a little funk, you start thinking a little bit too much. Sometimes you get a little bit aggressive, and we've seen him swing out of the strike zone. But he's a guy that doesn't get too far out of whack. He's very contained in his stance at the plate. Doesn't jump. He trusts his hands, and now he's going to have to hit 0-2.
Balfour had not allowed a run in 9 of his past 10 games, gave up 1 in this 7th inning. Billy again takes a shot at right field down the line, but that will twist into the seats. A foul ball, and Balfour gets a new baseball, and we'll try it again with an 0-2 count.
Okay, going soft away. Balfour might be saying, all right, he's leaning out over the plate. I come in with a fastball here. He could be waiting on it. Pena getting a huge lead at second base. There's nobody near him in the infield.
Blocked beautifully by Suzuki. Count moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Athletics playing Butler to spray the ball the opposite field in the outfield. There's a huge gap in left center field.
What about those gaps?
Exactly, but they're pitching him away throughout this AB. Upstairs.
Okay, now you're a run producer like Billy Butler. You don't want to get called out on a borderline pitch. Expand your strike zone a little with the runner out there and just try to get him home.
In there, strike 3 call. Butler is gone. So are the Royals. We head to the 8th. It's now 6-3 Oakland.
Back at Kauffman Stadium as Panera takes us around the league. Boston all over Toronto with a 7-4 win, and the Red Sox starting to make a climb. Seattle 2-0 trying to slow down the hottest team in baseball. Baltimore and Tampa Bay just underway as the Orioles continue to struggle. Minnesota, Cleveland tonight, New York and Detroit, and then a pretty good one between Texas and the Angels, Yu Darvish and C.J. Wilson. But for now, it is 6-3 here at Kauffman Stadium. And we send it back over to Fizz.
Thank you very much, Joel. Kansas City trailing by 3 runs, 6-3. They trailed at one point 6-1, but they fought back with single runs in the 6th and 7th. But each inning they had Kansas City had Oakland on the ropes with perhaps 1 or 2 more, and that would make it a 6-4 or 6-5 game. They have 6 outs to go. We're in the top of the 8th inning. Brandon Inge is the batter, and Lewis Coleman staying in the game. 2 balls and no strikes. Coleman had a little trouble with his command in his first inning, the 7th, when he walked Josh Reddick. Did not allow a run to score when he struck out Kahue. Should be an easy play for Alex Gordon. Angles his body perfectly. Keep his eyes away from that sun and makes the catch for out number 1.
Okay, I was just talking about how when you get a guy leaning out over the plate with sliders, he's taking the opposite way. You need to look inside because he's going to come back in there, and it was just a little too close to take. So why not just foul it off and buy another pitch? But he thought that was a little too far in, and our Fox tracks showed that it was in off the plate. If you don't hack, sometimes they send you back.
Now Coco Crisp, 0 for 3 with a strikeout, a lineout, a pop-up today. Royals won yesterday 2-0 in a tidy 2-hour and 24-minute affair. Luke Hochevar this afternoon did not have his good stuff nor his good command, and consequently gave up 6 runs in 4 2/3 innings. Brandon McCarthy was very sharp, gave up 2 in 6. Athletics and Royals each scored a run in the first inning. Then the A's scored 1 in the 4th and 4 to knock out Hochevar in the 5th. KC has responded with single runs in the 6th and 7th. And now Crisp to left field. It'll stay up for Gordon. 2 outs. Boy, Coco's got to be pulling his hair out. I'm telling you what, this poor guy is in a 5 for 41 slide since coming off that disabled list. And I would imagine how there are times you're probably sitting in the dugout, a bench going, will I ever get a hit again?
You don't say that because that's negative. You might say that at
but
home.
The seeds of doubt
are in your car going home, but you would never say that around one of your teammates.
No, I was just saying your inner turmoil.
You do, because you have lots of time off the field. You think about those things out of the clubhouse and out of the way of anybody else, because your teammates are saying, hang in there, you're going to get him. Now, after a while, you get tired of hearing with him. Okay, that's a short term for hang with him. You know, it means like, wow. You get tired of hearing that. But I'm going to get him. They're going to fall. We'll start our next at bat. That's how a player survives the mental anguish of making outs when you hit them on the line, right at people. It builds character in you. This game, more than any other game, revolves around failure. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people dwell on the failure part of the game. The players can't dwell on that, or they won't be successful. My mother taught me when I was a young man to always be positive. The world is a negative place, hon. If you're not positive, you're going to have a hard time getting through it. And that was before I chose the most negative profession in the world to be in baseball, and it really helped me during my years to become a successful failure, if that makes sense. But really, that's what it is. So it teaches life's lessons, the game of baseball.
So what you're saying is you failed at success?
No, I was a success at failing, and I knew how to handle it, though. I knew how to wash it away and come back the next day, just like these guys had learned.
Pop back and out of play. Lewis trying to give the bullpen rest. They did bring on Tim Collins to get 4 outs in innings 5 and 6. And then Coleman going here 7 and 8.
Gotta love what Lewis is doing. You can tell that there's a competition going on out there amongst the relievers, saying, all right, we got a nice little thing going. Let's execute. Let's pitch with a sense of urgency, and also let's pitch with conviction. every pitch, let's think about where I'm going to put it, how I'm going to throw it. And that's what you need to do in this game. And if you give it your best and you don't succeed, then you can sleep at night. You can feel better about yourself.
Way inside, almost hit Kurt Suzuki in the back, but he turned away from the pitch. The count is now full 3-2. The Royals with only 6 wins at home this year against 17 defeats. It's almost the reverse on the road, where they have 16 road wins and just 11 losses. I tell you, Suzuki will battle you. This is a guy from the island of Maui in Hawaii, and he was offered a full ride to become a Hawaii Rainbow, and he turned it down. Hawaii Warrior. He turned it down to walk on at Cal State Fullerton, and 4 years later he walked away an All-American and won the Johnny Bench Award as the best defensive catcher in college baseball. And his patience is rewarded with a base on balls.
You know, having young boys that are athletes that play in sports, and you know, you're teaching them, even young women. Of course, young ladies don't get as wrapped up in it as guys do. But I got a little 10-year-old that, you know, he has a hard time when he doesn't succeed in baseball, and sometimes he'll cry when he makes an out, or you know, he'll make some body language gestures. And so I don't tell him, don't cry, son. I say, young man, it's going to be okay. The game is really hard. Just try to let it go and tell him you're going to get him next time. So I know I'm not the only dad saying that. So these young men out here are passionate about baseball. They love it, but it's dealing with not succeeding. It can be really hard on you. So what you tell yourself and you tell your kids, give your best effort. Hustle down the line. Give your best effort. And if you did that, you don't have any reason to be upset. It's just a hard game. So I'm not going to tell my emotional son, coming from an emotional dad, not to cry. If he wants to cry, by golly, you know, it's okay to cry, but I'm just trying to help you handle the mental anguish of not succeeding. Happens a lot in baseball.
Swung on a miss, 2 balls and 1 strike. But to take nothing away from what you said, but you can't tell me that Mia Hamm and Hope Solo and Lisa Fernandez don't have that same competitive edge that the male athletes do, because they are incredible competitors.
No, I'm not saying that. Now, I raised a daughter too. She was a softball player all the way up till she's going to KU this next year. There's a ball to get out of it. Oh, man.
It skips by Betancourt. That will send Suzuki to third base, and all the way to second base is Cliff Pennington.
Okay, Betancourt kind of let that ball play him. He didn't really get in front of that one. He kind of O-laid it. That's what you say. So he didn't move his feet. He just thought he could trust his hands, and he's got good hands. But with 2 outs, you want to get in front of the ball. You had time to move over there. Now's not a time to be nonchalant.
The Royals have not played a clean game. That is their second error of this ball game, to go with a wild pitch and a pass ball that hurt them this afternoon. New pitcher when we come back. even though they have won their share of games in the month of May where the Royals have not played well. And this is one of those games where they need to clean up the little details to continue to have success.
Betancourt trusted his hands on just standing flat-footed and kind of elated, but it looked bad. You have to make the play. There's 2 outs in the inning. You don't. Crow doesn't have to come in and mop this up. Watch this here. Look, he doesn't even move his feet now. He just sits back and goes, "Well, I'm going to try to pick it," but you can't tell when the ball's going to hop up or stay down. To me, he needed to get in front of the ball and make the play. He's a big leaguer and he's a good one too. But those little things like that you hope that Crow can come in and bail him out here, but they should be in the dugout by now.
And Crow gives up a base hit that will score 2 more, and this will push the lead back to 8-3. So Adam Rosales in for Jemile Weeks, comes through with a key base hit. Both runs will be charged to Lewis Coleman.
So let's see what happens after that. First pitch, fastball, right where he was looking. He was ready to drive in a couple runs and put a few smiles on the A's that have not smiled in a while.
This is more runs than the Athletics have scored in their last 5 games. They had scored a total of 5 runs in their last 5 games, including getting shut out 3 times. But this afternoon against Kansas City, they have plated 8 runs on 8 hits. Kansas City helping them out with a couple of errors, a wild pitch, a pass ball, and now a pitch thrown to Colin Cowgill. Colin 0 for 3 with a walk. His ground out back in the first inning. Plated Weeks from third base. Another base hit to right center field. Rosales will make it to third. Josh Reddick will come up.
You know, physical mistakes happen, you know, where you just do all you can to get in a certain position and the ball, you know, bounces and you miss and things like that. But, you know, when you can control the outcome with your positioning and moving, that makes a big difference. And look what's happened since that boot.
Josh Reddick 1 for 3 with a walk. His base hit back in the 5th inning was the big moment of this game. It was still a close contest at that time at 2-1. KC trailed by only a run, but Reddick split the gap in right center field, drove in 2 runs, and made it 4-1. They would add 2 more in the inning to make it 6-1. Kansas City cut that lead in half with single runs in the 6th and 7th, but Oakland has busted it open here in the 8th inning with 2 so far, making it 8-3. Tomorrow in the final game of the series at 1 o'clock, Vin Mazzaro goes for Kansas City, Tommy Malone for Oakland. And then the Royals will welcome in the Minnesota Twins. And the Royal pitchers scheduled to go: Will Smith, Bruce Chen, and Felipe Paulino. Ground ball, short, Escobar bobbles, not in time, run scores.
Okay. Unfortunately, things in baseball are contagious. In a slight bobble on a runner that's hustling down the line, playing hard. These guys haven't gotten a win in a long time. Cost them another run. There's 3 runs in this 8th inning here that they wouldn't have had if they would have been a little more focused to detail. And look at him going. He says, you know what? Look, I want that run to score. I want that ribby.
The Royals did have a successful road trip, going 5-4 in New York, Baltimore, and Cleveland, but the losses were very ugly. There's a ground ball base hit through the whole left side, and the inning is continuing because of the Royals' inability to put away the Oakland Athletics. They had 7 errors over a 3-game stretch. Stephen Foster is going to go out and talk with Aaron Crow right here to try and get him back on beam, because he's yet to record an out. Gave up a base hit to Rosales, a base hit to Cowgill. Reddick reached on the error. Now Cespedes is singled to load the bases. But that's 9 errors in the team's last 4 games.
Well, fans ask all the time, how come they don't win at home? And I've said, well, you know, some of those things are hard to talk about, and you don't really understand why that happens. It's hard to explain, but they can see why. Right there. They don't need for me to tell them. It's a lack of focus at times.
The 9th A to bat in the 8th inning is at the plate. Kahue, who ended the 7th inning when Coleman got then a big strikeout. It's 9-3, Oakland with the lead. That bounces in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Oakland trying to end their 9-game losing streak. Both teams have been set back by injuries. Oakland losing 3 starting pitchers, Brett Anderson, Dallas Braden, and Brandon McCarthy, to the disabled list. They brought back McCarthy, who pitched very well today and likely will get the win to up his mark to 4-3. But they've also lost a reliever in Joey Devine and their third baseman Scott Sizemore. And that's why they went out and picked up Brandon Inge. For Kansas City, they've also lost 3 starting pitchers in Sanchez, Duffy, and Teaford. Duffy, of course, out for the season. Teaford should be back soon. And Jonathan Sanchez should be back in the starting rotation soon. But they did lose their closer for the year in Joaquin Soria. Another setup man in Blake Wood. That ball hit pretty well. Francoeur will run it down. Nice running catch by Jeff in right field. That was a 19-minute half inning, and it was a 19-inning nightmare for the Royal coaches.
Uncle
Better news for you, but the Athletics have a 9-3 lead over Kansas City. 3 errors have hurt the Royals. It's Miller time, and here is Brandon McCarthy.
Okay, McCarthy, he did an excellent job throwing strikes, but I'll tell you, it's nice to see Hosmer get a hold of one and go the opposite field. That guy's been struggling all year long, but man, for him to knock in a run like that on really a good stroke to the opposite field on the line was good.
Ryan Cook comes out of that bullpen. He has been fantastic this year. Acquired in a trade earlier in spring training. Has a fantastic ERA of 0.75. And Cook this year in 22 games has struck out 21 batters.
Well, when you throw upper 90s, mid to upper 90s, and you've got a slider and a split finger, those are some pretty good pitches to complement that. You got some pretty good command and get ahead of guys. That's what he's doing.
He was acquired from Arizona in the Trevor Cahill deal. And he's one of those guys that developed late. He was only a 27th round pick out of USC by the Diamondbacks. The ball swung on, fouled off the left side. But as a starter, he didn't have much success in the minor leagues. That what they found out that he would be very strong early and then fall off late. So they moved him to the bullpen, and he had a solid year in the minor leagues last season at 2.20 with the ERA. He will face Mike Moustakas, Jeff Francoeur, and Eric Hosmer here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
So you see a ton of guys that were starters, and most all these pitchers in the big leagues were starters at one time in their career. But did they have the endurance to go that long? Do they have the 4 pitches that you need to go deep into a game? And when you don't, they put them in the pen.
Moustakas pops it a mile-high left side inch under it for the first out.
So when you bring these starters that have good arms into the pen from the starting rotation, now they can go all out. They can go max effort, and that's where you're seeing guys that are in the mid-90s. Almost every guy throws 90 and above for sure. A lot of mid-90s out there from the pens. It's because they can go for 2 innings full out.
Kelvin Herrera is a classic example. He was a starting pitcher his first 4 professional years. They wanted to see him get work, but they could see with the power arm that he had, and he was a max effort guy, that he probably would be better from 10 to 25 pitches rather than 80 to 100.
So they can go ahead and let it out, and they only have to use a couple pitches. If you have that good complementary pitch like Herrera you're mentioning, he's got an excellent changeup to go along with that hard fastball.
But Royals general manager Dayton Moore and his staff has a decision to make on Monday. They have the 5th overall pick in the Major League Baseball draft. A lot of people are talking about Kansas City going in the direction of a college starting pitcher. And the 3 that everybody has been talking about are Mark Appel of Stanford, Kyle Zimmer of San Francisco, and Kevin Gausman of Louisiana State. And Dayton is not playing his card at all. I mean, last year a lot of people thought they'd take a starting pitcher, and they went with Bubba Starling, a local star from Gardner, Kansas.
Well, when you have the 5th pick, there's 4 before you, so you build your board on what if scenarios. And what if this guy's available? We'll take him.
Eric Hosmer, the batter.
And it's an interesting deal, that draft, when it comes to all the amateur players that are out there. A lot of people, a lot of teams hold their cards to their chest. And you hear a lot of responses from people in front offices of, we're going to take the best available player at the time. And that's really all they can tell you.
There is one more college pitcher that a lot of people don't talk about. That's Michael Wacha of Texas A&M. I had a chance to see him last year, and he has good stuff and very good command.
College players have a chance to move quicker. Younger players out of high school need developed. They need a little bit of time to see what they can do. Sometimes they'll take a chance on a high school kid who has a really high ceiling and they think he's going to be just great. But the college kids have got a few more innings in, and they've got some higher competition of college ball in them. So take a walk. That'll be good.
For Hosmer, it's his 17th walk he has accepted this year. Comes with 2 outs, and that will bring Alcides Escobar to the plate. Sometimes you also take a look at the programs that the athletes are coming out of. Louisiana State has always been at college baseball power. Stanford as well, and they've always developed very good pitchers in the past. From Stanford, Jack McDowell, Mike Mussina have come from that organization.
Now, when you're scouting hitters, it's a little bit different now with the aluminum bats not as lively as they used to be. So the last couple of years, those bats have been more like wooden bats, so you're able to see a guy's true power. And whereas before, when a guy would hit 45 home runs, you'd think maybe that projects to maybe 20 in professional ball with a wood bat. But nowadays, it's a little more accurate. There's the stings out of them bats now, and that's made a big difference in scouting. Position players, power guys. And there's a more emphasis on the small ball game. Bunting, moving runners over. Can a guy do little things?
Strike in the outside corner. The count is 1-2. And it was good to see the other day one of the Royals' top pitching prospects, Mike Montgomery, pitched so well, pitched a complete game, got the victory.
Boy, CG's really rare.
Swing and a miss by Escobar. The Royals are done in the 8th. We head to the 9th. It's all Oakland. 9-3 over KC.
After the game on Boulevard Royals Live, Jeff Montgomery and I out at Rivals, and we'll talk about Luke Hochevar. A big inning does him in today, 4 runs in the 5th. Also sloppy play for the Royals as they commit 3 errors. That's been a trend lately, and we'll get you ready for tomorrow's game. Tommy Malone taking on former Oakland A Vin Mazzara. We'll have that reaction from Ned Yost and much more coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Viz?
Thank you very much, Joel. 9-3 our score. Mitch Meyer takes over in right field to give Jeff Francoeur a little time off. He's played a lot of innings this year, and he's an old man at 28, Hud. You know that. Here is Jose Mijares coming out of the bullpen.
There's plenty in his tank.
I know that. I was just kidding because he's one of the senior citizens at 28.
Yes, but he loves to play. Now, I'm sure he didn't take himself out of the game.
I'm sure he did not. The batter will be Brandon Inge. Jose Mijares has been outstanding as a left-handed setup guy for Kansas City this year. 2-1 mark with a 2.49 ERA. Tries to get a breaking ball in the outside corner. It is called ball and a 2-1 count. I saw where Will Myers went deep again yesterday. He has 18 home runs in his first 2 months this year.
He's got a live bat.
I'll say.
Kid's got some skills, man. Won't be much longer. We'll see him here. It's always good to have prospects. I mean, that's the nuts and bolts of your system, of your organization. Is your minor league guys. Can you bring them up? Can you develop from within?
Omaha won yesterday 5-4 over Iowa. Inge with a long fly ball. Meyer tracks it well and pulls it down. He looked like a wide receiver going on a fade route.
You come in, it almost is a guarantee that ball will find you. And if for some reason that happens, and this is not an easy ball, running straight back on it, trying to get it out of that sun and glove it. Nice play. Good focus. Way to be ready when you're called upon.
One out for Coco Crisp, who is 0 for 4 in this game. Twice he is lined out to left field. In that Omaha Storm Chasers game, with Omaha winning 5-4, the record is now 33-23. They lead the Pacific Coast League Northern Division in the American Conference. And Kevin Kuzminov was able to come up with the game-winning hit in the 8th inning. Will Myers hit his own 2-run blast in the 3rd inning, giving him 5 home runs in 16 games with Omaha and 18 on the year in AA and AAA. And he is one of the top hitting prospects in all of baseball. The 3-0 pitch is in there. Ball 4. So Coco Crisp walks for the first time, on base for the first time in this series. He had been 0 for 7 prior to that.
Didn't miss by much.
One more tomorrow afternoon, a 1 o'clock game. Mazzaro throwing for Kansas City. Oakland will have Tommy Malone, a rookie out of USC, who shut down Kansas City in a game at Oakland earlier this year. Then we will see Minnesota come to town. Will Smith will be on the mound for Kansas City after his first major league win against the Cleveland Indians. The Twins will send Cole DeVries, and then Tuesday Bruce Chen goes against Liriano. Wednesday Paulino against Pavano.
Okay, now Vin, he wants to try to get a good start tomorrow's game for him and his Royals, but he's facing the team that gave up on him. He was 10-17 for Oakland in 2 seasons. So he'll have a little extra incentive to go out these guys and say, hey, see what you missed?
And Vin had pitched very well down at the minor leagues at Omaha. He was one of their top starters. Mihara is trying to finish off Kurt Suzuki, who's been a very patient hitter throughout this series. He is 1 for 3 this afternoon with a ground out, a single to left field, a strikeout, and a walk. Suzuki is the second out. So now Cliff Pennington will step to the plate. This Oakland ball club thought they had improved from last year. They only were 74-88, 22 games back of the Texas Rangers. But their offense really left a lot to be desired. They were 13th in batting. They were 13th in runs scored, averaging just under 4 runs per game, and 12th in home runs. But because of the job that Billy Beane and his staff did acquiring pitching, it was all very talented young pitching, but emphasis on young, and they are pitching in a pitcher's ballpark in Oakland, California, where there's more foul territory than any other yard in the game. So once again, they have a pitching staff with a fine ERA. They were 4th lowest in the American League coming into this game, 3.65. Last year they were just over that at 3.7. Ground ball short. Escobar should end the inning. He does. Bottom 9 we go. Royals need 6 to tie. Close this out for Oakland as they're trying to end their 9-game losing streak. They have been strapped to score runs, but they planted 9 on Kansas City this afternoon. In the bottom of the 9th, Gerard Dyson will lead it off. They'll be followed by Brian Pena and then Alex Gordon. Dyson has a pair of singles in this game, and that snapped a 4 for 30 slide he had been in to start this game. And once again, Dyson has that batting average up over the 250 mark at 256. This is his chance. This is his chance to show Ned Yost what he has before Kane comes back. And what they could do with Kane to bring him back slowly is have Dyson start against some right-handed pitching and have Kane go against some left-handers. But Lorenzo is an outstanding defender. Gold glove quality in center field, and Dyson trying to be that. And how about this? Dyson, 3 hits in the game, all 3 struck the same way, little flares to left field.
He's taken the advice from Kenny Lofton that visited with him in Cleveland on that last road trip there. He said, look, you got to learn how to use the opposite field and play games with that third baseman when he comes in. So you do that by waiting on the ball. Wait, and just push it that way. These are some good things right here that they're seeing offensively from Dyson. There's a little bit careless in the outfield. He's going to have to tighten that up a little bit. And I think when it comes to Lorenzo Cain, when he gets healthy and well enough to come up here, he's not going to be a platoon player. They're going to play him every day. It's just my opinion.
He had a wonderful spring training. Hit 5 home runs. Played brilliantly in center field. Pena swings and misses. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Royals have actually out-hit the Oakland Athletics 11-10. But the A's lead by 6 runs. Royals did not get a good start from Luke Hochevar, who gave up 6 runs in 4 2/3, but they also did not defend well. 3 errors in this game. They've had 3 games with 3 errors in the last week. And Ned Yost and his staff pride themselves on the quality defense they send out there. Pena pops it up foul territory. And a nice basket catch is made by Kahue.
Okay, that's not easy. Cradles it in just like a receiver, right? Wide receiver in football. He watched it all the way in.
Alex Gordon, who is 2 for 4 in the game, will bat for the 5th time. Royals had that one rough stretch where they lost 12 straight games in the month of April. But since that time, they are 19 and 14. They're starting to get some guys back healthy. Betancourt came off the DL yesterday. Sanchez might be coming back sometime this week. A ground ball to short. That is all they'll get is the force at second base as Dyson is out. Betancourt will step to the plate. He has been productive offensively in this game with a single, a sacrifice, and a sacrifice fly that drove in a run. But his error in that 8th inning led to a 3-run frame. Ball 1. Gordon given second base. One ball and 2 strikes. Royals had moved to within 6 games of 500 by winning last night 2-0. But they likely will fall to 22 and 29 after losing this afternoon. Oakland will have their 24th win and end that 9-game losing streak. It is finally over. The 9-game losing streak has ended for the Oakland Athletics, and the Royals are even in this series now with Oakland at 1 win each. Kansas City with an impressive 2-0 win last night, but a very rugged loss this afternoon. They did not play very well all the way around offensively. They did not pressure Oakland, and they made 3 errors and also had a passed ball. We'll come back and talk more about this one